And so they lied to me. They pulled the wool right over my eyes. And I was left wearing sheep's clothing in a world wearing a wolf's disguise. Welcome to Adventurous After Dark. We are your hosts, Zach, the Mad Bard Peeper. This is my esteemed friend and colleague, Caitlin Noel, over at Wild Rider. We are the lead adventurers of Team Adventurous. And we have a hell of a show for you tonight. But before we get into the specifics of it, Caitlin, would you like to plug yourself?
With what? Oh, I'm just kidding. Woohoo! Yeah. I'm Kate. I am sort of, I guess you could call it, second chair engineer, nuts and bolts person here at Adventurous Publications, and I have a book called Gehenna, Ode to Persephone, and it is slightly historical romance, slightly paranormal, but you'll have to read it to find out to mean about that. And I've basically decided that I am on a mission to unmask AuthorTube. Because I feel lied to, and I'm disappointed.
At some point, you will remember to silence your foe, which I'm
yes, yes. Because sometimes I remember to do it right before the show, and sometimes I don't. But
I just realized I said I improved those lyrics when I meant to say I improvised. Don't mind me. I'm an author, but I also just so happen to be incapable of spelling. I improvised those lyrics on the spot.
Well, I mean, you could have. Well, maybe you did improve them because you sang them. So,
Hey, you're reaching.
Well, yeah. What? Right. I try to be accommodating.
Get to the point, folks. Man, always in the weeds we end up. Tonight, we're policing some prose. We have some things to say about some blue aliens and why women are having sex with them.
Mm-hmm.
Also on the agenda for discussion tonight, soccer and why it's gay as fuck.
Yes.
Rebel Poet Society and how I do things. Kate will be reading something, I'm sure.
Yes.
And of course, the way we end every show, with a We Are a Genius conversation segment.
Yes.
Discussing the big tech and general literary conglomerate that is pushing the idea that Right to Market and Amazon are the be-all end-all, when in fact, they are lying to you, pulling the wool over your eyes, wearing a disguise, and we're coming for them. We're going to rip that mask right off those ugly bastards.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Kate?
No.
All righty. Well then, let's jump right into it.
Bad prose, what you gonna do when the prose police are coming for you? Bad prose.
All right, everybody. So, this has been on the agenda for a hot minute here. Ice Planet Barbarians, a sci-fi alien romance by Ruby Dixon. So, this is one of those things that I want to go into with an open mind.
Yes.
And of course, we can't get an idea for certain aspects of the book's quality, like plot and symbolism, other stuff. We can only gauge it based on the segment we're able to make time for in the show. So let's just get into it. This is the publicly available sample on Amazon. Part 1, Georgie. Up until yesterday, I, Georgie Carruthers, never believed in aliens. Oh, sure, there were all kinds of possibilities out there in the universe. But if someone would have told me that little green men were hanging around Earth in flying saucers, just waiting to abduct people, I would have told them they were crazy. Any thoughts on that so far, Caitlin?
It seems kind of basic, but I mean, it's only the first paragraph.
Now, how do you feel about the first the hook sentence, the opening?
The hook sentence, I'm not really snagged by it, especially since I don't know, it's just kind of weird. The person was like, "Hi, here's my entire name."
That is a little strange. Yeah, it is a little weird that the narrator would be like, George, like they're making a statement to court.
Yes.
The other thing that I think is a little bit silly is to open your book with "I never believed in aliens" when there's a big blue alien on your cover. It's like I feel like you have more opportunity to how am I trying to say this? When one of the main aspects of your book is right on the cover, you don't need to make your opening line about it. You can use your opening line to hint at something else, or to reveal another aspect of the story, or to just be a better hook to ask a more interesting question.
Yeah.
Rather than just make a statement that we already know about the book. So I definitely feel like that opening line could have been better. The rest of the paragraph, yeah, no problem with. Just kind of.
It's just kind of.
Yeah, not bad, not good. Okay, but that was yesterday. Today? Question mark. Today is a very different sort of story. I suppose it all started last night. It was pretty ordinary, overall. I came home after a long day of working the drive-through teller window at the bank, nuked a lean cuisine, ate it while watching TV, and dozed off on the couch before stumbling to bed. Not exactly the life of the party, but hey, it was a Tuesday. I gotta admit, I kind of like that. But hey, I gotta like that.
Yeah.
And Tuesdays were all work, no play. I went to sleep, and from there, shit got weird. My dreams were messed up. Not the usual losing teeth or naked in front of the class dreams. These were far more sinister. Dreams of loss and abandonment. Dreams of pain and cold white roofs. Dreams of walking in a tunnel and seeing an oncoming train. In that dream, I tried to lift my hand to shield me from the light. Except when I went to raise my hand, I couldn't. That had woken me up from my slumber. I squinted into the tiny light someone was shining in my eyes. Someone was shining something in my eyes? I blinked, trying to focus, and realized that I wasn't dreaming at all. I wasn't home either. I was somewhere new. Dun, dun, dun!
Done.
Then the light went off and a bird chirped. I squinted my eyes, adjusting to the darkness, and I found myself surrounded by things. Things with long black eyes and big heads and skinny pale arms. Little green men. Okay, I'm going to go back here. We're going to stop reading there. So, okay. Things. Oh, come on. There we go. All right.
This is very generic.
Yes, I would agree with you. I don't think it hasn't committed any cardinal sins yet.
No, but
But at
it's
the same
kind
time,
of boring.
I'm not sure I would say it's boring just yet, in my opinion. But what I think.
Well, I mean, because we're not getting any description of the character. What kind of an environment does she live in? Is it a she?
That's true. With the name like Georgie Carruthers, we really do not know.
Because it's gender ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I do know someone named Georgie, but her name is spelled with a J. So, you know, I mean,
here's my thing. Here's my thing.
mhm.
There's nothing necessarily wrong with it, and there's nothing necessarily catching about it. I feel like a scene is being set and I'm being led somewhere, which is fine for that the author is supposed to do that. But it's almost like the author is doing it too well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like everything's being handed to me, and I don't like that when I read.
I disagree. It's not like that. It's not like everything is being handed to me. It's the fact that it feels like it feels formulaic. That's not the same, Kate. Formulaic isn't the same as being handed to you.
Well, I mean, because what I mean by that, I guess, is it's basic in the sense that it's like, oh, well, here, I did this thing, and I did that thing, and this thing, and that thing, and instead of being like, hey, here is the thing that I did in this environment that I did it in, and me as a person, basically, we're walking around not actually getting to see the person.
That's true. We have moved from work to the living room to bed to some other room with zero description of any of the places. So we've been in a white room until now and with zero character description. That's true.
Also, like, does she like the fact that she's living a basic life and is basically a basic bitch?
Yeah, the only thing that's really been unique is we've had a little bit of character voice with a little bit of quippy kind of language, and it hasn't been like really distinct either. It's been casual level quip.
Right. Like,
better than nothing. So
yeah, but if you're gonna write in first person, for God's sakes, let us actually get to know the person who's narrating.
Right, and if your narrator is this boring the whole book, I'm probably not gonna enjoy the book very much.
Right.
Okay. Now, as to actual stuff about prose, this last line I read, things with long black eyes and big heads and skinny pale arms, and not a single fucking comma in that sentence, and it sounds like a 5th grader wrote it.
Yeah.
Like, holy fucking shit. Can I get a little bit better description? Like, you've just introduced aliens. Can I please get a little bit better description? And can you please use punctuation? So,
are they disembodied?
Right.
Heads and arms?
Yeah, with long things with long black eyes. How are they long? Like long up and down, long side to side, long diagonal? What do you mean by long eyes? Is the actual eyeball long in its socket? Is the pupil long? And big heads and skinny pale arms. What's a big head to you? What's a pale arm to you? I've seen a lot of dudes with arms that I could break over my knee they have skinny, pale arms. What constitutes a skinny, pale arm to you?
Right.
Little green men. And then the crux of it right there. Little green men. The author knows that everyone has a stereotypical picture of little green men in their head, and they're relying on cultural conventions of phrases. And
Lazy!
That's lazy. It's acceptable sometimes, not always acceptable. And I would argue that when you're writing science fiction, if you want to be taken seriously as a sci-fi writer, you should probably not rely on societal conventions too much. Be original. Okay, moving on. I'd screamed bloody murder, actually. So
that's kind of cliche.
Yeah, but hang on, but the reason I stopped is, I suppose, okay. I was briefly thinking that tense was switched, but I mixed up in my own head somehow, so never mind. Okay. One of the aliens tilted its head at me, and the bird chirping sound happened again, even though his mouth didn't move. Something hot and dry wrapped over my mouth, choking me. Gross. And a noxious scent filled my nostrils. Oh shit. Was I going to die? Frantically, I worked my jaw trying to breathe, even as the world got dark around me. Then, I went back to sleep, dreaming of work. Lame. I always dreamed of work when I was stressed. For hours on end, angry banking clients yelled at me as I kept trying to tear open packs of 20s that wouldn't seem to come open. I'd come to count out change only to get distracted. Work dreams are the worst. Usually, but this one was a relief. No trains, no aliens, just banking. I could deal with banking. And that brings me to here. I'm awake. Awake and not entirely sure where I am. My eyes slide open and I gaze around me. It smells like I'm in a sewer. I can feel a wall behind me and my body hurts, all freaking over. If you're going to abuse syntax like that, you better be more clever than that. My head feels blurry and slow, like all of me hasn't quite woken up yet. My limbs feel heavy, drugged, I realize. Okay. Kaylin, any thoughts before I...
Well, like you said, if you're going to abuse syntax that way, you need to be far more clever.
Yes.
Also, the narration continues to be as dry as stale toast.
Yes. Now, something else I wanted to talk about was we are getting moved. So all of these things, all of this stuff, these are great places where you could add characterization. You could talk about the way your character felt about all this.
Mm-hmm.
Add, because this is first person, they could give us commentary that gave us a great idea about their personality. We could, this, between what we've had happen in the book right now, you could fill 2 pages with instead of the half a page that I think this would be if it was printed. And I can't help but feel like I'm reading a YA sci-fi. And this is supposed to be adult because it's alien erotica. And so that really makes me feel like this is a low-level writing book that is purely a right-to-market dopamine fix. And, you know.
Well, because the market it is in, as somebody who's had to produce a few shake and bakes, the idea is they skimp on the characterization and character development, even sometimes skimping on things like actual story, and the entire goal is just to push towards, hey, we just want all the sex scenes. It's basically, it's the reason why this industry is called mommy porn, because the entire interest is, hey, we're just going to push this as quickly as we possibly can to those scenes with as minimal amount of story as possible, because that's not what people are reading this for, because they're not.
Right.
So hence the lacking narration and characterization, because these parts were not cared about.
Yeah, all of this just feels incredibly rushed.
Yeah, so you get the lazy things like, it's smelling like a sewer, instead of describing what that smells like.
Right. And by the way, why would a banker know what a sewer smells like? Just a little smart ass question there.
Well, I mean, if it's like living around here, if it rains too much, you walk outside and it smells like somebody shit in the front yard.
Gross. Okay. I realize someone's drugged me. Not someone, something. My breath quickens as a mental image of the dark-eyed aliens returns, and I look for them. Wherever I'm at, I'm alone. Thank God. I squint in the low light, trying to make out my surroundings. It seems to be a large, dark room. Faint orange light is emitted from small running tubes in the ceiling about 20 feet above. The walls themselves are black, and if I didn't know better, I'd say this looks like a cargo bay from some weird science fiction movie. You have not earned the right to be meta yet. On the wall opposite me, I count 6 large, 6-foot metal tubes lined up against the wall like lockers. Orange and green lights run up and down the sides of the tubes in a variety of squiggles and dots that might be some sort of alien writing. On the far wall, there's an oblong door. I can't get to the door, though, because I'm behind a metal grid of some kind. And there's a god-awful smell. Actually, it's not just one smell. It's several of them. It's like a piss, shit, vomit, sweat cocktail. And it makes me gag. I try to cover my mouth with my hand, but my arm is slow to respond, and all I manage to do is flail a little. Okay, so we do get why the place smells like a sewer. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And here in this paragraph, we do see that we start to get some description of surrounding, finally.
Yeah.
It's
like it's about damn time, girl.
Faint orange light is emitted. Yeah, we're only in our, fifth room? The walls are black. And if I didn't, I'd say this looks like a cargo bay on the opposite wall. Mm-hmm. Yep. So this thing about this looks like a cargo bay from some weird science fiction movie. Again, that's one of those things. Yeah, it's relying on conventions, and I hate to sound like some kind of a snob or something, but I almost want to say I feel like you haven't earned the right to be meta with the level of writing you're at. Like, show me that you can do a good job. Show me that you can do a good job of describing environments and being artistically inclined towards how you tell me things before you start being lazy and relying on mental images you can pull from the popular culture.
Yeah.
Because that's twice now that they've relied on societal, well-established societal conventions to establish.
Because the only time that is okay is when a person has exerted the literary energy, for lack of a better term, to describe things pretty heavily up until a certain point, and they're just trying to move very quickly with a part that's appropriate for telling rather than showing, so that they can just go ahead and get to the next plot point.
Right.
And move on with the story.
But see, right now we're supposed to be, especially if this is a sci-fi, we're supposed to be in the building phase right now. This is not the place where you take shortcuts and try to move things along.
No.
And again, there has not been a sufficient level of
building anything.
Belief accumulated by the author. The expression suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Well, I'm having to suspend my disbelief that this is going to improve. And I shouldn't be having to do that.
No.
But my arm is slow to respond, and all I managed to do is flail. I swing my drugged, heavy head, looking around the room. Actually, I'm not alone now that I look around. Again, I'm not alone now that I look around. Could you say that any more bland, please?
I think she did.
Have some salt on my cracker? Fuck.
It's like, no. No, we need low sodium for all of you old farts in the old folks' home.
Oh, salt being bad for your heart is a myth.
I know.
Piled onto this side of the grid, bodies curled up and asleep. In the low light, I count 7, maybe 8 forms about my size, huddled together like puppies. Seeing as how we're all on this side of the metal grid, I'm starting to suspect I'm in a jail of some kind. Or a cage. But I repeat myself for false dramatic effect. Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. Yeah.
I guess if I have
right
to be in a cage, it could be worse. There's room enough to stand, though not much more than that. At least there are no aliens in here with me. I want to panic, but I'm too out of it. This is like going to the dentist's office and getting a dose of laughing gas. I'm having a hard time focusing on anything. My bare upper arm aches, and I sluggishly rub my fingers on it. There are several raised bumps on my arm that weren't there before, and I rub it harder. Giggity. Feeling hard under the skin. What the fuck? I try to peer at it in the dark, but I can't see anything. Images of the aliens and the light shining in my eyes. The nightmares. The terror. It all rises, and I panic. A whimper escapes my throat. A hand touches my other arm. Don't scream, a girl whispers. Okay. Credit where credit is due. We actually got a fairly decent build of the internal state there. Could have been better, but not bad.
Yeah.
Caitlin?
I know she was trying to build tension, but the fact that it took this long and there wasn't a whole lot of build up until this point, I don't really care whether there's a reason why she should or shouldn't scream.
Fair point. Fair point. Yeah, so I only started getting a little bit drawn in after Aura Cage, and it's because the language started having just the slightest little bit of characterization in it if you read into the subtext enough.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for characters and I'm a sucker for characterization. So I was drinking that new information in readily. But I can see what you're saying, where if someone has already been turned off by the writing before this, that they would no longer do that.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're going to write in first person, the voice needs to be a lot stronger.
Yeah, this is a very passive person's voice, someone you would say is high on the agreeable scale, because these are circumstances that would have a normal person freaking the fuck out, and this person has been remarkably chill about this,
Yeah.
relatively speaking,
Yeah.
up until now.
Yeah, because we're getting images that should be, oh, this is exciting and new and, scary, but we're getting it in a voice that just makes it sound like, oh, well, that regular Tuesday I was talking about, this is what happens on one of those.
Right. And now, I will say, in defense of the author, this is written in past tense. And it's written in first person. So
Yeah.
there's an implication that the narrator is going to be fine. So the author might be working from that angle, where the narrator is talking about this long after it's happened.
Yeah.
And they're no longer freaked out or anything like that. They're just trying to tell you how it happened. But if that's the case, then the description of things that happened needed to be more colorful.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. There didn't necessarily have to be the fear component in there because, again, past tense, but it would have still been nice to get more exciting language.
Yeah.
Okay. A hand touches my other arm. Don't scream, a girl whispers. We'll do one more, and then we'll call it.
Okay.
I roll my too heavy head until I look over at her. She's about my age, but blonde and thinner than me. Her hair's long and dirty, her eyes big in her lean face. She glances around the room and then puts a finger to her lips in case I didn't understand her earlier warning. Silence. Okay. I choke the cry rising in my throat and try to remain calm. I nod. Don't scream. I can keep my shit together. I can. You all right? Yeah. I slur my mouth, unable to form words. And I drool all over myself. Yo, relatable. Lovely. I lift one of my heavy hands to swipe at my mouth. Thori. Okay, Mike Tyson. You're okay, she says before I panic again. Her voice is pitched low so as to not wake up the others. We're all a bit hung over when we wake up. They drug everyone when they arrive. It'll wear off in a bit. I'm Liz. Georgie, I tell her, taking time to sound out my name properly. I rub my arm and point at it at the strange bumps. What's going on? Well, Liz says, we were abducted by aliens, but I guess that one was obvious, right? I smile wryly, or try to. I probably just end up drooling on myself again. Liz shifts next to me. Okay, let me see if I can hit the big highlights everyone else here. Okay. And then she was about to yeah, they were, yeah, okay. Okay. Oh, fuck. Where? Shit. There you go. Okay. Thoughts, Caitlin?
Is it just me, or does it seem like she switched from past tense to a more present voice in describing this scene?
I didn't notice it, but I didn't notice it at first, but she absolutely did. And that's, so you can find it in every sentence now that I look at it. You're right. And then puts a finger to her lips in case I didn't understand her earlier warning. And she glances around the room and then puts a finger to her lips in case I didn't understand her earlier warning. No implication of past tense. Silence. Yeah. Okay. I choke, the cry rising in my throat, and I try to remain calm. No inclination of past tense. I nod. That sounds downright present. Don't scream. I can keep my shit together. I can. So here we have a narrator switching from clear past tense to ambiguous leaning present tense. And sometimes that's pulled off well, sometimes it's not pulled off well. It didn't break me out of the read, but Caitlin noticed.
Yeah.
So the jury's out, apparently,
Well,
on whether or not it was done well here. What, Kate?
well, a developmental editor would have gone through this. I should say a line editor would have gone through this and been like, okay, so you need to make up your mind. Either you're going to do this whole thing. If you're doing it in first person, you're going to do it in first person present tense. Or you need to fix this and make it sound more like you're retelling this situation past. Because it's inconsistent narration.
Well, yeah, I agree it's inconsistent narration, but what I was getting at is that sometimes you can get away with that if you're really good.
If keywords there being if you're really good.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
You're okay, she says before I can panic again. Her voice is pitched low so as not to wake up the others. We're all a bit hungover when we wake up. They drug everyone when they arrive. It'll wear off in a bit. Little stiff, but passable. I mean, I could see how someone who's in a high stress situation might not be talking with normal mannerisms, and so they would sound a little bit more like that. So we can let that one slide potentially. See if the dialogue becomes any more personal later in the book, which we'll not get to. Georgie, I tell her, taking time to sound out my name properly. I rub my arm and point at it at the strange bumps. What's going on? Nothing wrong there as far as I'm concerned. Well, Liz says you were abducted by aliens, but I guess that one was obvious, right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's not bad. Caitlin, any objections there?
No.
Okay. I smile wryly, or I try to. I probably just end up drooling on myself again. The only thing I have to say about this is I would have punctuated this differently. She wrote that sentence almost like we're in a fight scene. I smile wryly, period, or I try to, period. I probably just end up drooling on myself again, period. That is literally the 1, 2, 3 fight scene paragraph. And that does not work outside of a fight, in my opinion. You're trying to make everything feel like sharp and punchy for no reason. You're describing a high person's facial gestures. It doesn't need to be fast-paced and exciting.
Yeah, well, because
Kyle Riley, comma, or I try to, period, I would probably just end up drooling on myself again, period.
Yeah, because the whole idea behind this and part of her switching to present tense was to try and up the tension in this scene, and that's the reason for punctuating it that way.
Oh, I understand, but that's the wrong kind of tension to use.
Well, yeah, but it just shows how green the author is. Because this appears to be the only way they know how to build tension, because there has been a lack of actually authentically building tension up until now.
Right.
So it's out of place.
So some things the author could have done to build tension better up until this point. We could have gotten some characterization of the narrator so that we had a reason to sympathize with them. We could have gotten more internal voice so that we could have understood how panicked and serious this is, and how that's affecting her. That would have, because we empathize, right? So when the character was clearly having this existential crisis, you, the reader, would empathize. the reader and the writer, should know that, and therefore use that opportunity of the character's voice to build that empathy.
Mhm.
Then you can describe what the confinement is like and what the surroundings are like, and you could have given it more detail than it got before this conversation actually started happening, and that would have increased the empathy, because you'd be like, oh man, yeah, that fucking sucks, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that would have saved the writer from having to write this scene right here
Yes.
like it is a fight scene, at least in terms of the way the punctuation is being used. Because I've read plenty of fight scenes where that is exactly how the punctuation looks. Very short sentence, period. Very short sentence, period. Slightly longer description of consequences of first two sentences, period. It's one of the most common writing techniques for writing fast-paced scenes. And I'm not saying it's a bad technique, but you don't use it for things other than fight scenes.
Yeah, and we've not really been given a reason why this needs to be fast-paced.
Exactly.
As far as the context of this scene.
Exactly. So,
yeah. Verdict.
Overall, I'll go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I said verdict.
Oh, well, I was about to issue a final statement.
Mm.
So, overall, if I was picking this up in a bookstore, I would spend a few more minutes maybe reading it. If I was gifted the book, I would certainly read it based on what I've read so far. But I would, by the point that I've read to so far, at that point, I would say, oh, okay, this is going to be like only a somewhat entertaining time killer thing to read, not something I'm going to walk away from having had an experience. I would instantly know that I was holding fast food fiction, and that if I had anything more important to do, I should do that instead. That's the point I'm making here. So,
yeah.
The verdict?
Yes.
If you want to be taken seriously as a sci-fi writer, get good.
Yes. Yes. That is so.
I find you guilty of overly generic voice.
Yes, what is it? We're going to sentence you. Shall we sentence them with a misdemeanor, or is this a felony?
Well, my understanding is that this person wrote a bunch more books like this, but unfortunately, we don't have time to see whether or not they learned their lesson after the first time. That might be a segment in the future.
Yep, all on its own. So for now, as of looking at it, it is a misdemeanor of bland. Bring the seasoning sometimes.
And so next time. That's Team Adventurous out here patrolling these literary streets, making sure that crimes get prosecuted and justice is done.
Bad prose, what you gonna do when the prose police are coming for you? Bad prose.
Yeah.
All right.
Shall we go?
I was about to say, we have 10 comments, it looks like.
Comments.
All right.
All righty.
Silent all the time. Well, you're here now, Sammy. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I know what you meant. Made me think of Wolves in Sheep's Clothing by Sid. Yeah. Wolves in Sheep's. Oh, the song, the improv song. Yeah. I like improving lyrics sometimes. Me and Caitlin have some plans to demonstrate to you improv skizzles here at future dates. Hello, bot. Thank you for your patronage in our channel.
Yes.
Not dying
before the anal probe.
Narration isn't
grabbing my attention. Yeah.
Yep. This is a dull and dry book. Yes.
Agreed. Like I said, stale, dry toast.
Yep. Why take so long to add? Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes you think it won't get better? I'm not sure if you were asking that sarcastically. Because okay, not to go on a tirade about it. I want to finish the comments and then keep the show moving. But just really quick, because these people are dopamine dealers, and the community has rewarded them gratuitously for being dopamine dealers. So why would they change?
Yep,
There
they're like
is a
it.
financial incentive for them to keep doing what works instead of improve.
They're like, there is big money to be made in selling crack in a Walmart parking lot.
I'm with Zach. Low expectations. Yep. Hello, Otherbot. Low, rub it harder. Oh my.
Oh my. Yes.
Any literary of using past and present tense, like Zach says, seems hard to pull. Oh man. So the best examples I think I could give you would be, and I don't remember where exactly they show up, and it's only like a very rarely done thing. I'm not even sure Jim realized he was doing it, but there's some times in the Dresden Files where it switches from clear past tense to have more ambiguous or even slightly present tense. Mostly it's done for very high drama moments and fight scenes. And there's two things that could be. It could be a deliberate, because the voice of Dresden and Dresden's personality is very well established, and we know he's the narrator. So Dresden could be relaying this story to you and making those deliberate choices as a storyteller, because again, Dresden's the narrator. So the writer has to think about how Dresden would tell this story. Okay. And so what we end up with is being unsure if the writer was masterfully skillful and wrote their narrator in voice properly, which is a very big accomplishment for a writer, or if the writer had voice strain and failed to keep themselves consistent. And unfortunately, without asking him, I have no way of knowing which it is.
Yeah, but with the fact that he is as good as he is, you can't really tell.
Exactly. Which lean and the skill of the other things he's pulled off leans me towards he knows what he's doing.
He did it deliberately.
It's a master stroke, yeah, because some of the other, like the way he puts a plot together and the fucking pacing is immaculate. Oh my god.
Jim Butcher.
Master.
Quite amazing. Yeah.
So yeah.
Indeed.
Jungle Juice.
Woo!
I can't wait till I get the next rap review segment ready for you guys. I'm letting you know I'm working hard on that one. I have not yet started work on that, but what I mean to say is I will work hard on that one because I want it to be something really special for y'all. All right, so Caitlin, any more discussion about the aftershock of prose, please, or should we move into the next thing?
We should move on.
All righty, let's
go
talk about sweet nothings and innocent truths.
Yeah.
Welcome to Rebel fucking Poet Society.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Stuff and some
things. And yeah.
So, this is a poem that I wrote as a joke between, but it became so funny that I had to share it with you.
Yes.
So I am going to.
Because we love you.
I am
Love
going
all
to
of
read
you.
you this, and then I will read you one of my more serious works.
Yeah.
And then Caitlin will give us something.
Yes.
This one's for you, Mason. There are many ways a man can go about his day. I choose to go calmly, happily, gay, with my dick out. Sometimes I go over here. Occasionally, I'll go over there, with my dick out. I climb mountains high and gaze into the sky, with my dick out. And I walk through the sand, just like I planned, with my dick out. And I drive in my car to go have drinks at the bar with my dick out. And it feels so nice when I whip out my dice. And I also whip my dick out. Oh, and I feel so free. And other guys wish they were me when I whip my dick out. So anyways, that's why I'm in prison.
With your dick out.
Oh my god. Oh, so yeah, that was Zach Pieper with my dick out. I swear to God, I'm a serious intellectual. I swear to God, my novel's great.
I swear.
Oh, fucking A. I'm sensing a theme.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man. Yes, thank you, Mason. Love you, buddy. Oh, man. Okay.
Oh my god.
Caitlin, would you like to read one for next, or should I just go for another one?
Go for it.
You know what? No, I'm not giving you the choice. You need to break up. You do it.
Okay, fine. Okay. Now this is not poetry in the, I guess, in the convention of poetry, I guess you could call it. I found original Celtic wedding vows some years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I found them in the original Gaelic, and I translated them into English. Because I can do that. It's a secret talent of mine. Anyway, so I personally, I found these to be quite beautiful, and so I'm going to read them. It says, I do not possess you, for you belong to yourself. But while we both wish it, I give you that which is mine to give. I will never command you, for you are a free person. But I shall always serve you in the ways you require, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and health, and I promise the honeycomb will always taste sweeter coming from my hand. I pledge to you that yours will be the name I cry aloud at night, and your eyes alone, the ones into which I will smile in the morning. I shall tell no strangers of our grievances. I pledge to you the first bite of my meat, the first drink of my cup. I pledge to you my living and dying equally in your care. This is my vow to you. I found that to be quite beautiful. Ooh. Yeah.
Truly beautiful beyond measure, and said in the voice of the ancestors.
Yeah. But I love how it began with I do not possess you, for you belong to yourself. And I personally think that's one of the greatest gifts you can give to a person is self-governance. Is like, hey, you get to be yourself. And I think that that's what it means by, if you love someone, let them go. It doesn't mean like, be like, okay, you can leave. It means it's unfettered, because how else could it be true if they don't love you of their own volition completely, you know? So I found that to be one of the most beautiful things was I do not possess you. Even though it is a I don't possess you, but I do because you are mine. So yeah. I Yep.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Do. Hmm.
Yeah. So
This is a poem. Well, I'll let you guys tell me what you think of it. I'm sorry about I love you. I'm sorry I hesitate when you say I love you. But as you often say, I love you is a promise that everyone before you has broken, with words and deeds left undone and unspoken. Those promises rang hollow like a bell that's broken, and I wandered in darkness, yearning and searching for a token or a single note to be spoken, to grace my ear with words that hadn't been shattered by lies. I wandered the darkest night in disguise. I wore the face of a monster as I hid in darkness, and I begged fate to send me a savior. But when she arrived, it was only to remind me that I need to take off my disguise so those who could truly love me could see me. So please, forgive me when I wince when I hear you say, I love you. Forgive me for reacting so cautiously. It takes time to heal wounds like these. You know, Lauren, you get it. Yes. Yep. Alrighty.
yes.
Well, Caitlin, should we find anything else?
We can. Do we have submissions?
We do not have any submissions. So
I would also add in reply to said poem that true love endures all things, believes all things, and forgives all things.
Yes. Okay, well, then we are going to move into the next segment here.
Oh.
And what?
Lauren says, I thought I emailed you something, Zach.
Oh, did you send it to me in Facebook, Lauren?
Or to Adventurous.
Or Caitlin, check Adventurous.
Let me see. Okay. All right. Do. Okay. And sorry now. Okay. Yes, she did send us something. Okay. All right. I have it right here. Oh. All right. No, I'm stalling. Okay. So, anyway.
My bad. I have. Anyways, go.
Yep. Yeah. Same. I also have peoples. Okay. All right. This is called Heated Desire by author Laura Nadell. All right. Here we go. Gazing lustfully from afar, ensnaring me with her silken voice, captivating the crowd with lush melodies, drawing me to her sensual voice like a siren's lament. Maria, I pray you forgive my hour of weakness and offer me salvation for my mortal sins. These fleeting temptations of passion ravages me, ignoring the heat of desire burning my soul. My skin is ablaze by her warm caress, inhaling her exotic perfume, watching her graceful dance for the feast of fools. How can I swat away these inviting impulses, entrapping the ravenous she-devil, to carry out my sinful commands without condemning my soul to the fires below? How can a mere clergy withstand this witch's cures? Have I not suffered enough with this monster that was forced upon me? Penance for my brother's sins or God's will to test my soul with the sins of hell. Oh, and yes, I already guessed this one. This is the cleric from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. He's talking about Esmeralda. Yes.
I don't think I would have caught that.
Fire, hellfire.
If I can have her.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yes.
Yeah, you got it.
Yes. Burning desire. Yes.
Fire, hellfire. Hey, Disney, don't copyright strike us. I'm sick.
Well, it's because you're singing, so they can't tell because the bots are not able to pick up on background music. It's like, you can't catch us if we do it a cappella.
right. This has been
Ooh. Yeah,
that was a good segment.
that was
So,
very,
Caitlin,
very good. Yes.
remind me, what's that thing I'm always bitching about, the homosexual symbolism?
Oh, you mean sports?
Yeah, sports. And what's the one that like it's a bunch of dudes and they're all kicking a ball and they all have Justin Bieber haircuts. Which one is that again?
Um. Oh, but uh. Oh, I think the Brits call it football, but
But
we call it soccer.
oh yeah. A bunch of dudes running around a field, kicking around a symbolic testicle to throw it into the other dude's bag. Do I need to make more of an argument here? I think I pretty zipped it up right there, didn't I? Yeah, I'm just gonna kick this fucking testicular replacement around this field until I get it in the other guy's space, make him hug the testicle symbol, and then we're all gonna find it. You know, we're gonna get up and we're gonna like tiptoe dancing around each other and kind of play footsie. This whole time we're struggling to get the testicle symbol from the dude whose junk is on my thigh for the last 2 minutes as we all juggle ball control. Folks,
Oh,
not to mention the fact that on that entire field, there isn't as much testosterone as what my late father had on his deathbed. To you, Caitlin.
well, I was just going to say, are we going to completely disregard the fact that one of the biggest things they have an issue with, especially in the UK, when people playing soccer, is this thing they call marking, where the guy will stand guarding the other dude and he will reach his hand back and grab the other guy by the balls.
How did I not know? Tell me more. Tell me more.
Well, because I believe it's Vinnie Jones. He was a player for a long time, and one of the biggest offenses that he kept getting in trouble for was this thing that they call marking. And like I said, it's basically where the guy will be guarding another dude to keep him from being able to jump out and get the ball, and he will take his hand, and in order to debilitate said dude for a good amount of time, will reach back there and grab the dude by the balls and squeeze. Yeah.
Did I need any more ammo in my argument? No. I'd already killed the argument. But then you see Caitlin, she laid the body down in the coffin. And this very thick hardwood lid. And let me tell you, 9-inch screws, thick shanks. That lid's not coming off. You. Soccer's gay, bro.
Oh, and Nicole.
Oh, yes, exactly, Nicole. Thank you for the first shovel full of dirt, Nicole. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Soccer, every one of them looks like a boy band reject. Every single one of them is on the other dude's thigh, half the game, if not more, and every one of them is playing footsie with other dudes to steal the testicle symbol so they get to throw it in the other dude's bag.
Yep. It's just so
Yeah, I know it's a fucking net. It's a metaphor, you idiot.
We get it.
And that is why soccer is one of the gayest sports that nobody seems to be willing to call gay.
Oh my god.
You know my favorite part, Caitlin?
What?
I don't write these before I go live.
I know.
I've never written a fucking gayest sports segment. This is all 100% off the cuff. Just so that's perfectly clear.
Like, here we go. Ta-da!
This is a live show, baby.
Emphasis on the live.
Lit. I roll out.
But do you also roll up?
I roll up. I swear I'm a serious intellectual.
It's like, oh, but don't you know, though, that this is far too important to take too seriously?
Oh, facts. Word up.
Yeah.
Yep. Word up,
Yeah.
W. Straight facts.
Yeah. Alrighty. So.
All right. So tonight we are here to discuss the instant gratification culture and its effect on writing, specifically as it relates to right to market and Walmart trying to pretend it's the only circus in town.
We are a genius.
I love how you just called Amazon Walmart.
Did I?
You just said how Walmart is trying to pretend like it's the only circus in town.
Freudian slip, except I replaced the thing with its closest analog.
Oh my god. Oh, I love it. Oh. Whew. Okay, so the reason why he said that was because after all of the research that I've done this week, I've basically I've pretty much boiled everything down to right to market is people dopamine dealing in the literary equivalent of a Walmart parking lot. Yeah, he did say this show is live. Oh, yes, because the show lives. We live here at the show. So how I came upon this was I came upon an article that was that came out a couple of weeks ago by an author by the name of Crystal A. Walker. You can go to medium.com and check it out. And it's titled Why I Pulled My Book from Amazon KDP and I Wish I Had Done It Sooner. And basically, I'm not going to read you the entire article because it is quite lengthy, but she gives screenshots of her royalty earnings over, certain period of time and basically tells about her entire experience. And it's very analogous to the experience of a lot of authors in the independent writing community. And basically, she only ended up making about $24.52 in the entire 3 years that she had her book on KDP. Is what it boiled down to. And she realized the reason for this was because KDP and Amazon, they're not set up for people who actually want to produce art. They are for people who see their stuff simply as a product and therefore gear the things that they are writing to fit in whatever is going to get placed closer, basically at the front of what is essentially a glorified grocery store. And I've noticed that this is also a thing, because there is a marketing expert that we are working with, Matt O'Duncan, who does a lot of publishing on Amazon. So I'm not shitting on people who do publish through Amazon, but from having talks with him, and he's also going to be teaching a course on academy.adventurouspublications.com on marketing and how to do that for yourself. One of the things that he told us was that in order to publish successfully through KDP, you have to look at it as it is a product. It's not necessarily art. And that all of your advertising and the way that you build it has to be built from a product perspective. So it's completely commercialized. So if you are looking to actually execute your writing in a manner that is art and is not paint by numbers, formulaic, fits into a box, what somebody would be willing to just grab really quick from a grab and go section while they're standing in line at the grocery store. We all know those when you see those paperbacks in the grocery stores. It's that same thing. Like the Harlequins and all of those things. That's the reason why those publishers were even created. And KDP has decided that they're going to do that for the online situation. Now, what's created the problem is the fact that Amazon has gotten as big as it has. And so you have Google, which also owns YouTube. And you also have Microsoft and Facebook and Instagram and all of these people who are all pushing towards helping each one of these people, Netflix, Hulu, all of them that are in bed with each other, to make more money and gear people towards producing things that are going to make them more money. This is why they push content for people to gear their books to be written more in a screenwriting format than written like novels, because the formula helps you to produce it much faster. And if it is in more of a formula format, it's easier for people to convert it from novel to screenplay, meaning they have a lot more content that they can trowel through and boil down really, really quickly to do the, hey, it was a book, so we can convert it over into being a show on Netflix and all those other things. So basically, it's just this constant circle jerk of content. And they basically created this ginormous content mill. So once you actually get out of searching things on Google about this, you will find, I went to DuckDuckGo and other search engines and found several articles where people were talking about how KDP is actually for chumps. If you are looking to actually sell actual art to real readers who are people who actually frequent bookstores and like to read, not instant gratification stuff, but an actual book. Faithful readers can be found if you sell broad rather than restricting yourself to KDP, because it's actually killing your creativity. And it's not the huge successful gonna make you all the money in the world thing that it makes itself out to be. That's just what they're pushing in front of your face.
I would argue that Barnes and Noble is better, and you can
Yeah.
start publishing them.
Yeah.
Because Barnes and Noble is still set up like it's a traditional bookstore. See, so let me rephrase the thing Caitlin was saying into a little bit more trad pub terms. Amazon is behaving like a big five publishing house trying to curate its material to fit its image. They push books forward that look and read a certain way because that's part of their marketplace's public perception. So readers know if I want fast food, dopamine rich, junkie fiction, I can go on Amazon. The first page will have 10 that I can read and digest in like a week because I'm a dopamine junkie and I've got very efficient at digesting my drug. So what you have to do is look at the financial incentive there for Amazon to keep doing what it's doing, especially the influences that Amazon and businesses like it have on more popular and in the face of the general public entertainment sectors like Netflix. So we have a content mill pushing the most formulaic, most dopamine junkie rich stories to the top of the fucking pile. That's Amazon. Then this other content mill gets to look over at the selection and say, we want that one, and that one. Make it happen for us. And yeah, it's not hard to figure out. There's a clear financial incentive. These two industries jerk each other off.
And especially after the creation of Amazon Prime Originals.
And it is getting harder, yeah.
Yes, it is hard to find decent fiction on Amazon. Especially after the creation of Amazon Prime Originals and some of the contests that Amazon holds, they incentivize you for only doing Amazon exclusive. And they tell you that after you reach a certain threshold of sales, that you could be optioned to have your work turned into an Amazon original show. But that is, of course, as long as you fit the criteria. So the more, the more equal your boxes are ticked, the more inclusive your boxes are ticked, the more diverse your fiction happens to be, the more, less story, less characterization, hurry up and, have all the people having, sex with blue aliens stuff. Basically, if it fits into those kind of criteria, is basically something that can be quickly converted into something that they can stream and turn around for more money, which if it does get optioned to be an Amazon original or something by Netflix, you are not going to make anywhere near as much.
Yep.
Once it does. So they are turning that around for their purposes to capitalize more on you rather than what you are going to be making. So people need to be aware. if you're actually looking to publish things that are original stories that is actually art that you actually care about, there are other ways to do it. It's not just what's being thrown in your face.
Yeah. And it is important as artists, folks. We have a responsibility to our society to produce art that is good for our society.
Yeah.
As an artist, if you take art as your profession and you're serious about it, you should have professional integrity, and you should want to produce work in your profession that's good for the people it reaches.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, so many of them have become crack dealers, except the crack is manufactured in the human brain by the formulaic trash they pump into everyone's eye holes. I don't respect it.
Yeah.
Back to you, Kate.
Yep. And I also like how Nicole up here, I'm going to acknowledge this. She said not set up for disabled writers either. No, it isn't. It is not. And I mean, they preach compliance and inclusivity, but it is not inclusive or compliant.
Why'd you snap the thing back?
What? Oh, I thought I was taking it down. Sorry. I mean, Dave, if you want to, okay.
And yes,
I'm Indigenous. I'm considered less diverse by those wackos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yes, I've heard that from more than one person who got published in like writers groups on Facebook.
Oh,
They're
yes.
like, man, my publisher wants to rewrite my story.
Oh yeah, because they will.
Yeah.
They straight up will. And because their whole mindset, just like everybody who publishes, well, the majority of people who publish through KDP, it's not art, it's a product. And this is something that they will tell you when you get into TradPub. The first thing that they tell you is stop taking it so personal. This is a product. It's not your baby. It's not art.
Yeah. And frankly, we here at Team Adventurous reject that bullshit.
Exactly.
Fuck you. It used to be our community dealt specifically in good art. That was the point of being a publishing house, to curate an art gallery and stamp your name on it in the culture.
Yeah.
Now look at you. You're a bunch of goddamn crack dealers.
In a Walmart parking lot, no less. Have some self-respect. And that's the thing, too, talking about self-respect and professional integrity. I knew several people who would write Harlequin romances, which I've done a few of those myself because, like I said, shake and bake, and done some stuff for Hallmark. And I know, yeah.
Just because it's full from crack doesn't mean it's not crack, Hallmark.
Doesn't mean it's not crack. Exactly. And the thing is, the majority of those people, they're like, oh, yeah, no, we know that this isn't art. No. This is just stuff that we do to make money. I would not at all try and, build up any kind of respectable literary credibility basing my reputation on this. So, I mean, I honestly have more respect for those people than I do people who want to come out and be like, yeah, recognize me as a legitimate artist because I deal the literary equivalent of, crack in a glorified Walmart parking lot. Yeah. So, yeah. Be honest. If you know that's what you're doing, own that that's what you're doing. Because honestly, okay, and I will say, I have a manuscript, and I had to time myself, but it only took me about 2.5 hours, and I've done this so many times, and this is the reason why I tell people I could write one of these in my sleep and probably have. Okay? I had memorized the formula so well that I was able to pump this thing out. It's about 35,560 words. And it took me 2.5 hours.
She writes really fast and really fucking sloppy. You ever seen that fucking scene in Death Note where Light is like,
No, this is typed up and this is on my computer. It took me 2.5 hours to type it up. But yeah, that's because I type at like 222 words a minute. Well, the sneezing, actually, he was sneezing a blessing upon the thing that I was saying. Kind of like when Odysseus was talking about his adventures after he'd crashed on the beach. And he was like, and he was telling this amazing story. And they were, in old Greek culture, they had this thing where if someone sneezed while someone was saying something that sounded like it could have been bullshit, if a person sneezed within the general vicinity of whoever was saying the thing, it meant that it must be true.
where the fuck does that kind of superstition even come from?
I don't know.
That is
But
just
yeah, so there. What I have said is true. Yes, it is not bullshit. Damn, that's impressive. Yeah, because like I said, I type 222 words a minute.
And she's a big nerd.
I am a very big nerd because I just. Well, okay. I am working on being a slightly tinier big nerd, okay?
That was not a fat joke.
I know it wasn't. I'm just fucking with you.
How dare you? How dare you do something so personal, so close to home, live on air? That's a low.
What?
With the nads.
What? Are you talking to me or him?
Yes, you. Hey, no, no, Caitlin, no. I'm not talking to Barry. I'm talking to you, Kate.
You said yes.
You,
That
Caitlin,
means you.
in the nads.
Because I was about to say, I don't have any. Oh.
I guess I'll just have to kick until you do have some.
But yeah. So, will Adventurous Publications ever take on manuscripts to publish? Yes.
Yes.
That is the goal.
We have full plans to get a legal business license and do everything legit. We intend to be a publisher. That is the end goal. We're trying to build an audience right now and do brand awareness while we try to get that happening behind the scenes.
Yes. Yep. As we're looking into all of that, and if anybody wants to help support us in getting there, feel free to buy our books and buy our merch and all of that other stuff.
Honestly, at this stage, none of that is what's most helpful. At this stage, what's most helpful is you hitting that subscribe button, and hitting that share button.
Yep.
Those are the two things that you can do that will help us the most. Share this around, like, subscribe, leave a comment. That's the number one thing you can do to help us because we're trying to build an audience. And that's hard as fuck these days. Especially, no one else is doing a late night book talk show.
Yeah.
Like a comedy show like you used to see on, good late night TV. But it's all about books and literature. It's kind of a niche market. So if you can just here a little bit, please.
Yeah. Plus, that's another thing, too, that I've noticed about a lot of dealing with this big tech. everybody thinks that how to navigate this is a one size fits all, and I've noticed that for literary it's not.
Yeah.
So I've been doing some studying on that, and I think I have figured out a way to fix it. Not only for us, but possibly for some other people. So I'm going to be doing stuff on that subject on my channel because of all the data that I have collected and put together, so that maybe it'll be a little bit easier for people going forward trying to navigate all of this stuff, because literary is very different. And I'm going to be starting with Instagram. People can go and look and see that I finally have actually gotten it to where my followers are actually more than the people that I was following. And I think it's because I have figured out how to crack the code in the algorithm as far as literary is concerned. So we shall try all of this out together going forward and see how it works. And any of the things that I put out that you guys try, please feel free to contact me with data on how it's working or not, because I think that this could be helpful to everybody in the community.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. Cause Kate, what?
Because Kate's a huge need. What? Oh. Are you trying to say that I am a huge nad? If so, I'm not sure how to take that. Oh, are you insane?
Great. What the fuck?
I have not fallen for that trick before and will not now. Nerd. Yes.
Oh man.
Yes. Because Kate's a huge nerd. Yes, I am a nerd.
Caitlin.
Yes.
But in reference to the poem I read earlier.
He says, I need to toot. Well, you can do that on your own. I mean, if you need somebody to pull one of your appendages in order to make that happen, you might have some problems, man.
that might be indicative of a serious neurological issue.
Yeah, he's like, no, I can't toot unless somebody pulls an appendage.
Oh man.
Has anyone ever told you that you are a toot? Because if not, they should.
So, Kate, have we about wrapped up the conversation for the night?
Yes. Yes.
And that's why.
You are a genius.
That's right. Except for when we're being idiots fonts, which I am quite frequently.
I need to toot with his dick. That sentence is a very disturbing sentence to take literally.
But I love you, Lauren. Tutti fruity.
Fruity.
Oh,
Fruity. Oh, Rudy. Bop, bop, do that. Bop, bop. Got a girl named Daisy.
Oh, wait, I'm crazy.
I love that song.
Don't you?
No, in the context of the poem, it would go like this. I pulled my pants down, and I was farting around. with my dick out.
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
I'm adult, real human man.
Yes.
Oh,
Would love it.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, man. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Yeah.
Hey, just a casual reminder, if you do like reading, I write epic fantasy.
Yes. And I write romance, but like real romance.
Kate writes a little of everything, truthfully.
I do, because
I can't wait for World Next Door. That's gonna be a good
World Next Door.
Oh.
Yes, I'm super excited about that too.
All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. Share it around, like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things, ring the bell.
Yes.
This has been Team Adventurous, and we'll adventure with you next time.
Yeah.